Good afternoon. We are going to take a look today at just a couple of examples out of section 1.4, which is combining like terms that you've already done in Algebra 1. So I want to start with just reviewing the idea of what are like terms. So in order for two terms to be like terms, they have to have the exact same variable. That variable has to have the same exponent, and there cannot be any other variables involved. So if we are looking here at 2x and we are trying to find those variables that I've listed below that are like terms, or those terms, that are like terms, then there are only two of them here. So the two that are like terms with 2x are negative 3x and positive 1/2 x. So over here, 6x squared is not a like term because that x is squared, whereas on 2x it's not. And then 7xy is not a like term because the y is involved there. The y is stuck onto the x, but the 2x doesn't have a y stuck on. So again, in order for terms to be like terms, they have to have the exact same variable. This is important to you because when you are simplifying expressions, you can only add or subtract terms that are like terms. So if you don't have that written down somewhere, that's something that you want to write down. Only like terms can be added or subtracted. So that, again, is important for you to know and be aware of. All right, so I'm just going to do two quick examples with you here of combining like terms. So we're going to move through each of these here, and then we're going to be done with that, and you're going to be able to move on to the activity for my class. So if I'm asking you to simplify the expression that you see here, what I would suggest that you do for now until you get more comfortable with like terms is that you mark the terms that are like terms. So if I circle negative 3x in yellow and I look across at the other terms, the other term that is a like term with it is negative 4x. And then if I circle in green negative 6, negative 6 is just a number with no variable on it. That means that this positive 2 over here is a like term for it. So when we go to put these together and combine them, we're really dealing with them separately. We're going to combine those things that I circled in yellow. So we're going to be taking negative 3x minus 4x. And then we're separately dealing with the negative 6 plus 2. So if you look at negative 3x minus 4x, remember when we're subtracting that we can change that to plus a negative? So that means that I'm adding two things that have the same sign. So when I put these together, I add the coefficient, leave the variable alone. The coefficient is the number in the front. So negative 3 plus negative 4, I'm going to add those together. So I'm going to add I'm going to add 3 and 4, which gives me 7. And since they had the same sign, I will keep the sign. So that's going to become negative 7x. And then over here with negative 6 plus 2, those have different signs. So remember, when it's different signs, you subtract them and keep the sign of the bigger number. So 6 minus 2 is 4. And then 6 was the bigger number. So that's going to become a negative 4. This is your simplified expression. All right, let's try one more. So on this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to move through and I'm going to mark like terms. So if I have negative 9, are any of these other terms a like term with negative 9? Hopefully you're saying yes, and you're realizing that positive 5 is a like term with negative 9. Then if I look at 5x, if I circle 5x in green, are any of these like terms with 5x? So in that case, the answer would be no, right? So 5x is alone in this. So that leaves me with negative 9y, and its like term over here, which is negative 7y. So again, I'm going to group these up for you this time just so that you can see this. So I will end up having negative 9 plus 5. Then I have the plus 5x. And then I have negative 9y minus 7y. So when I look at negative 9 plus 5, they have different signs. So I'm going to subtract them and keep the sign of the bigger number. So 9 minus 5 is 4. And since 9 was the bigger number, this is going to be negative 4. Now that 5x that didn't have a like term, since it doesn't have a like term, it's just going to stay exactly the same. So that's going to stay plus 5x. And then that brings me over here where I have negative 9y minus 7y. Again, when we're subtracting, it will help us if we change this to plus a negative. So now I'm adding two things together that have the same sign. So when that happens, you add the numbers. So 9 plus 7 is 16, and then you keep the sign. So that's going to become negative 16y. So this would be your simplified expression. So you have an activity. That activity is on a website that you have not yet been on for my class, which is called Desmos. As you go to the next screen in this module, it's going to provide you with the instructions that you need to get on Desmos and complete that assignment. One thing that's very, very important on there is that you enter your own name, because that is how I'm going to go in and give you credit for that. It's not recording your score in Canvas. It's recording your score based on the name that you put in, and then I will go in and I will enter those grades in the gradebook. If you don't enter your actual name, you are not getting credit for this assignment. So I'm telling you that in advance. It's typed on the next page. Type in your name so that I am able to give you credit. If you have questions, you can message me on Canvas and I would be happy to answer whatever it is. Have a great day.